All right. Welcome back to Rapid Fire Manufacturing. I'm excited to have Tony Gunn with us today. Tony's a passionate advocate in the manufacturing world. He's got decades of experience helping companies navigate technology decisions. And since joining MTD CNC as the Global Director of Operations in 2020, he has been traveling around the globe, sharing his vast knowledge and connecting with people across the industry. His infectious energy and deep commitment to educating others make him a key voice in the world of manufacturing. Tony, it's an honor to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
That's an honor to be here. And you've done your research. I don't know if ChatGPT helped you out or whatever you did just then, but that was good, David. Well played. I like it.
A bit of both, right? try to research, plugs things in, and then rewrite according to that. So,
yeah, well, it sounded good. I couldn't have done it better myself. I appreciate that little introduction.
Yeah, no problem at all. Are you ready to dive into some questions here?
Well, that's the point of this whole rapid fire excitement. What cool concept, by the way. I like the concept. I had to see what this was all about.
Thank you. I actually randomly just thought of it one day when I was laying down.
That's when all the best ideas happen. All the best ideas happen randomly like that.
Yeah, the kids were sleeping, and then I'm like, it popped in my head. I'm like, all right, let's see if I can run with it.
Yeah. I'm thinking, man, what a good idea David had. I'm gonna take some of my podcasts and just clip that hour scene and use 5 minutes of one question of it and just make that a new thing as well. But I don't want to copy you. I don't want to steal anything. But they say there's no such thing as an original idea. Everyone's just trying to improve on another idea. So, but I won't.
Yep,
I won't.
Absolutely.
This is really cool. So well done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So with everything you've seen in automation in manufacturing, what are some of the biggest challenges that companies are going to see while trying to blend, AI and robotics into some of their traditional machining processes?
It's a good question. I probably should have read this ahead of time so I could give you a really good answer, right? But I didn't. So we're throwing off the cusp here, man. I like it. This question gets brought up a lot, right? Because it is completely synergetic with reshoring, nearshoring, global competition, all of these conversations that I know you ask other folks, and something that I give keynotes on regularly, and discussions that come up in shops all the time. And I've given a cliche answer before, and I'm going to lean on that cliche answer because it is the right answer, but try to expand on it a little bit. And the challenge for everyone, and it could be specifically this question, David, or it could be another question, is going to be about education and building confidence in whatever said topic it might be, right? But the comfort zone is a wonderful place to be, but nothing grows there. Except we're such a traditional industry that we stay there far longer than we should. And we have reasons for that, and oftentimes they're considered good reasons, right? Because the investment in new technology and the time it takes to learn something new can be expensive, and it can. And so I would say that embracing the technology, embracing automation, embracing AI, although it might be a foreign substance to a lot of folks out there, is worth doing the research on. A lot of folks say, I can't get into automation because I am a job shop. I don't run 1 million parts a year. I'm not an automotive plant that's making, hundreds of thousands to tens of millions of parts. But that's just not the case. Automation these days has been created to allow job shops to run onesies, twosies, fivesies, tensies, and be able to automate that and run through nights and weekends and allow people to do more of their creativity instead of loading and unloading. And yes, there are examples, and great examples. I go into shops all the time, great examples of situations that are just not applicable to automation. I get it. That's fine. Let's not make something work where it doesn't work and waste money trying to set something up if it's not gonna. I totally get that. Being labor intensive and needing humans to do things is gonna be and always exist, regardless of how awesome and futuristic automation and AI might be. On the AI side of things, we have a group of people that they don't get it. They don't want to get it. In fact, oftentimes even fear it and what it might become as it evolves quicker than my brain personally. And I don't want to speak for everyone, but it's learning far quicker than I can. And even those who were in the industry of AI. I went to a show not too long ago that coincided with another show I was at, and it was completely dedicated 100% to AI, just how it works, how it evolves, how to focus on it, how to make it work for you, how to, everything that goes into that. And even the folks that spend day to day, every day on AI are learning something new every day on AI. So how can we focus on all of our manufacturing processes, from quoting correctly to making something perfect, to upgrading our technology and investing in that, to making sure it ships on time and making sure all of our partners are satisfied and happy, and then adapting AI to that, when even AI world is only focused on that and we have everything else. So it's always going to be a balancing act, right? Understanding how to balance what matters most to us. And that's going to be more of the full circle. And again, you asked for a rapid fire, but you didn't know getting into this you were going to get a full podcast, Dave. So I apologize for that. But that's kind of the answer in a really generic nutshell. For me, is what are the challenges going to be? We could spend an hour on this and get the true challenges of a shop who's now created the confidence and implemented it. What challenges then happen in the machine shop once you get it there, both AI and automation. So we could dive into that in a much longer series. But ultimately, for all technology, especially manufacturing, we need to embrace it. We need to accept it. Things are changing quickly, and we have to adapt to the modern world, or we're going to fall behind. Even just the situation of it's always worked for me. That's a deadly sentence. So let's have the confidence, the courage, or hire people who do have that as advisor roles to help us then bring it into our facilities if we don't have the time and resources to do it ourselves, and hire advisors to come in and help implement that. So enough of my long-winded conversation. I hope that's answered a little bit of your question.
Absolutely, it has. And, that reminds me, there's certain companies that will dedicate one person to a specific thing, like, hey, you learn everything about AI and how we can implement. So start assigning certain people within organizations to take on that challenge, to understand, to learn, so that the companies can really, progress, right? Get out of some of that old mentality or whatever kind of thinking they're stuck in. Try to assign people to those roles to really learn and dive in.
Yeah, I mean, I think Steve Jobs is quoted, but how many people in progressive situations have said, surround yourself with people smarter than you? We can't do it all, and trying to do it all is suffocating. You'll find yourself on a treadmill or a hamster wheel or treading water in an ocean real quick when the tides are high, because it's you can't do it. Nobody can do it. So we need to surround ourselves with those people. And then that step becomes, well, who can you trust? Who's in it for themselves? Who's in it to sell a specific product that may not be the solution to all things? Who do you trust, right? So it is an onion, and it is levels of acceptance, but we do need to move in that direction. And although failure is potentially the most difficult way to learn something, it's also the most beneficial way to learn something. So we have to jump in, we have to fail, we have to pick ourselves up, we have to keep moving forward.
That is amazing. I agree. So typically I do an overtime question. I don't know if we'll have time to do that.
Totally up to you, my friend. Totally up to you, brother.
If you got the time, we'll do it real quick.
For you, I got all the time in the world.
I appreciate that, Tony. So looking back over the past couple of decades, what do you think the most significant shift has been in manufacturing, and where do you see that changing in the next 10 to 20 years?
So another good question, and it's very deep consideration I have to give, honestly, David. Because we have to realize I was a machinist for 12 years, a consultant that went around to 40, 50 countries for a decade, and jumped onto the media side recently to learn as well. But as running several machine shops, from precious metals to woodworking to some of your more standard materials, I learned, I knew what I knew, right? I knew, and I didn't know what I didn't know. And I think that's very fair for everyone to realize in their own life. We don't know what we don't know, but we can be very good at the things we do know. Each shop taught me a lot, but I was limited outside of that world. Jumping into the international sales consulting role and working directly with head engineers at your Apples, Googles, SpaceX, NASA, Tesla. I mean, name it. I've probably been there, open my world to what everyone is doing at such a broad scale. And then now on the media side, I get to be of service to everyone, right? I get to share everyone's stories, and everyone's perspective, opinion, idea, situation is all just a little bit different. So for me to answer your question, what has been the greatest change or the most significant change or the adaptation of 25 years being in manufacturing, it might be what COVID brought us. And COVID brought us an increased immediate awareness of what we've done to ourselves for the last 30 years offshore and everything, and how important manufacturing is, because we lacked things, because we missed things. And when anyone in the world doesn't have the resources that they need to get something done, they'll do something about it. But if you pretend it doesn't exist, if we all pretend it doesn't exist for years and years on end, it can come to a brick wall that smacks you in the face immediately. And that's kind of how COVID helped us ignite the idea at a much, I mean, people were talking about it for a while, but ignite the idea of what reshoring needs to happen immediately, how reshoring needs to happen. But I asked a question recently in my keynote, just recently in Austin, Texas, with those amazing folks at ARMA. I said to the entire crowd in the room, hundreds of people, raise your hand if you think if we reshored everything right now, would we have the infrastructure to do it? And no one raised their hand. And I said, good answer. That is correct. We do not have the infrastructure to do it right now. So that's where nearshoring comes into play. Our Mexico and our Canada are fantastic. We don't have oceans on either side of us where we can bring that to light. So I'm going to wrap this up because I know this isn't a full podcast. It's a rapid fire question with, I do believe that awareness might have been the most significant thing that we could bring to manufacturing, because the ripple effect of that awareness has now excited women in manufacturing through voices like Megan Zimba, diversity in manufacturing through voices like Drew Crow. And we're doing this almost as a team now. We're seeing a lot of these so-called competing companies out there who are getting together because we need to. These associations are hopefully having conversations because we know about a labor shortage and a skills gap. And it's been words that have kind of been accepted and then dismissed over the last decade or so, but it now means something. It is now such an important concept, idea, opportunity that we are bringing to light in an impactful way, that COVID might have been that shift that we needed here in the U.S. to realize our inabilities and rekindle what's very, very important and bring stability to any major country across the world, across the globe.
That's amazing. That's powerful. It's during some of those challenges that you're really able to see some of our own deficiencies, right? And now we're able to address that. And hopefully, like you said, nearshoring and doing things internally, we're able to address some of those issues. And of course, the skills gap and tribal knowledge leaving the industry with baby boomers retiring. So I think, like you said, if we collaborate and work together, I think we can make it a much better place.
Agreed. It's a long game, but we got to start, and we have started, and we'll get there, but it will take dedication.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, that wraps it up. Tony, thank you so much for joining. Stay tuned for future guests and experts in the industry. So take care, everyone.
Appreciate you, brother.